This is the image they said we would never see. For a decade, Washington has operated on a doctrine of caution, of red lines drawn in disappearing ink, of strategic patience. But on Thursday morning inside the cabinet room, the era of patience didn't just end. It was violently dismantled. Picture the scene. It is the first full cabinet meeting of 2026. The air is already electric. President Trump is sitting at the head of the mahogany table. To his right, the usual suspects of statecraft. But everyone's eyes are fixed on the man sitting directly across from him, Pete Hegseth. Hegseth is not just the Secretary of Defense anymore. In this meeting, he pointedly, deliberately, and publicly referred to his office by its original pre-1947 name, the Department of War. And he didn't offer the president a list of options. He didn't offer a bureaucratic word salad about de-escalation or coalition building. He looked Donald Trump in the eye, and he delivered a message that was clearly intended for one specific audience, the supreme leader in Tehran. He said, and I am quoting the transcript exactly here, "We will be prepared to deliver whatever this president expects of the War Department." Whatever he expects. Let that phrase sink into your bones. In the context of Donald Trump, a man who has already ordered a massive armada to steam toward the Iranian coast, a man who has tweeted that time is running out, that phrase is not a promise of support. It is a blank check for total war. Today, on Apex Brief, we are not just reading the headlines. We are tearing this statement apart to understand the terrifying mechanics behind it. We are going to look at the massive armada converging on the Persian Gulf. We are going to break down the Midnight Hammer operational plans. And we are going to explain why the renaming of the Department of Defense to the Department of War isn't just semantics. It is a declaration of intent to the entire world. But to understand where we are going, we have to understand where we just came from. Why is the administration so confident? Why is Pete Hegseth speaking with the swagger of a conqueror? The answer lies in what happened just 3 weeks ago, the capture of Nicolas Maduro, January 3, 2026. While the world was still nursing a New Year's hangover, U.S. Special Operations Forces executed what military historians are already calling the most sophisticated snatch and grab in modern history. Operation Silent Night. For years we were told Maduro was untouchable. We were told that Caracas was a fortress, protected by Russian air defense systems and Cuban intelligence officers. The experts said a raid was impossible. They said it would trigger a bloodbath. They were wrong. Under the cover of a massive cyber blackout that left Venezuela's radar systems blind, U.S. forces infiltrated the presidential palace. They didn't level the building. They didn't start a war. They surgically extracted a sitting head of state and had him on a plane to a federal holding facility before his bodyguards even realized he was gone. That operation changed the psychology of the Trump White House. It intoxicated them. It proved to Hegseth and Trump that the old rules of sovereignty no longer apply to the United States. It proved that if the U.S. military takes the gloves off, if they stop worrying about international norms and start focusing on winning, they are unstoppable. So when Hegseth sits down at that cabinet table to discuss Iran, he isn't speaking as a rookie secretary trying to find his footing. He is speaking as the architect of the Maduro raid. He has a win on the scoreboard. He has blood on the jersey. And he believes, deeply and dangerously, that the Maduro model can be applied to the Ayatollah. He believes that Iran is just a larger Venezuela. He believes that the regime in Tehran is a paper tiger, held together by fear and duct tape. And he is betting the entire stability of the Middle East on the idea that if you hit them hard enough, they won't fight back. They will fold. This is the context for the War Department comment. When he says War Department, he is signaling a return to the ethos of World War II. General Patton, General MacArthur. A time when the U.S. military existed for one purpose: to locate the enemy, close with the enemy, and destroy the enemy. For the last 80 years, since 1947, we have had a Department of Defense. The psychology of defense is reactive. You wait for a threat, and then you defend against it. You manage the problem. You contain the Soviet Union. You contain Saddam. A War Department is offensive. It is proactive. It doesn't manage threats. It eliminates them. By using that language, Hegseth and Trump are telling the world that the era of containment is dead. They are telling Iran, We are not here to blockade you. We are not here to sanction you. We are here to break you. And what is this new aggressive posture backing up? It is backing up a specific, non-negotiable ultimatum. No nuclear weapons. We know that Iran has been inching closer to breakout capability. Since the collapse of the previous talks, the centrifuges at Fordow and Natanz have been spinning at dizzying speeds. Intelligence suggests they are enriching uranium to 60%, maybe even 90%. They are weeks away from a bomb. In any other administration, this would mean emergency summits in Vienna. It would mean sending diplomats to Geneva hotels to drink coffee and hammer out a deal. But the Trump administration isn't interested in a deal. They aren't sending John Kerry. They aren't sending pallets of cash. They are sending the USS Abraham Lincoln. They are sending B-21 raiders. And they are operating on a timeline that suggests the decision to strike has already been made. The only variable left is the trigger. Stop looking at the politics. Let's look at the physics. What does it actually mean when the Secretary of War says he is prepared to deliver? We need to break down the Armada. President Trump used that word for a reason. In naval doctrine, we usually say carrier strike group. Armada implies a convergence of multiple fleets. We are seeing assets from the Mediterranean 6th Fleet and the Pacific 7th Fleet converging on the Arabian Sea. This isn't just about aircraft carriers. The real teeth of this force are the Arleigh Burke-class destroyers. Each one of these ships is a floating magazine of Tomahawk land attack missiles. When the order is given, the first wave won't be piloted aircraft. It will be a saturation volley of 500 to 800 cruise missiles. Their job is not to hit the nuclear sites. Their job is to blind the enemy. They will target Iranian radar sites, S-300 air defense batteries, and command and control nodes. It's called kicking down the door. Once the door is kicked down, the B-21 raider walks in. Hegseth's confidence comes from this specific platform. The B-21 is the midnight hammer. It is designed for one specific mission: deep penetration. Iran's nuclear program is buried under mountains. The Fordow facility is built deep inside a rock formation. Standard missiles just scratch the paint. To kill it, you need the GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrator. This is a 30,000-pound bunker buster. It can punch through 200 feet of reinforced concrete before detonating. Only the United States has this weapon. And only the B-2 Spirit and the new B-21 can carry it. Hegseth's preparedness relies on the belief that American technology can outpace Iranian geology. But intelligence is the flaw in the diamond. In the Maduro raid, intelligence was perfect. They knew where he slept. Iran is a fortress nation. It is vast, mountainous, and compartmentalized. Does the CIA truly know where every centrifuge is? Does the War Department know where the mobile missile launchers are hiding? If the first strike misses just 10% of the targets, the retaliation will be immediate. And then there is the domain you cannot see: Cyber Command. Before a single missile leaves a tube, the digital war will begin. Pete Hegseth knows that the modern battlefield is networked. The goal will be to turn off the lights in Tehran. We are talking about zero-day exploits deployed against the Iranian power grid, military communications, and centrifuges. Remember Stuxnet. That was a scalpel. This will be a sledgehammer. The goal is to leave the regime deaf, dumb, and blind while the Armada positions itself for the kill shot. But defense is just as critical. The Armada is also a floating shield. The Aegis ballistic missile defense systems on those destroyers are the only thing standing between Tel Aviv and a rain of fire. We know Iran has the largest missile arsenal in the Middle East, thousands of ballistic missiles. Hegseth is betting that American technology, the SM-3 and SM-6 interceptors, can swat down that swarm. It is a technological gamble of the highest order. If the shield fails, even by a fraction, we are looking at mass casualties in Israel, Saudi Arabia, and U.S. bases in Qatar. The War Department is betting on perfection, but in war, nothing is perfect. But here is the variable the war room is ignoring. The kinetic war is the easy part. The United States military can turn Fordow into a crater. That is not in doubt. But are they prepared for the day after? Are they prepared for the asymmetric war? Pete Hegseth is a student of military history, but he is seemingly ignoring the lessons of economic insurgency. To defeat the United States in 2026, Iran doesn't have to beat the U.S. Navy in a gunfight. They just have to bankrupt the global economy. Let's run the simulation for Scenario 1, the Strait of Hormuz. 20% of the world's total oil supply flows through this narrow choke point every single day. The geography is a nightmare. It is only 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. Iran controls the entire northern coastline. Hegseth talks about air superiority, but you cannot bomb a minefield. Iran doesn't need a navy to close the strait. They just need sea mines. Thousands of cheap, floating magnetic mines dropped from fishing boats or fired from mini-submarines. If a single supertanker hits a mine, the insurance rates for global shipping don't just go up, they skyrocket by 10,000%. Every major shipping company in the world, Maersk, MSC, will order their fleets to stop. Traffic freezes. The price of oil doesn't just spike, it doubles. We are talking about $200 a barrel overnight. Think about what that does to the American economy in an election year. Think about what that does to your gas pump in Ohio or Pennsylvania. Diesel prices hit $8 a gallon. The trucking industry collapses. Food prices soar. The global supply chain freezes. This is the economic nuclear option, and Iran has been preparing it for 30 years. They know that while the U.S. can win the air war, the U.S. president cannot survive 4 months of hyperinflation. Then there is Scenario 2, the Ring of Fire. Hegseth focused entirely on Iran itself, but Iran is a hydra. It has heads all over the region. Hezbollah in Lebanon has 150,000 rockets pointed at Israel. The Houthis in Yemen have anti-ship ballistic missiles pointed at the Red Sea. Shia militias in Iraq are stationed just miles from U.S. bases. If the War Department strikes Tehran, the order goes out to activate the Ring of Fire. This isn't a theory. It is their stated doctrine. U.S. bases in Iraq and Syria, like Al-Assad Air Base, would be overrun by drone swarms within hours. Tel Aviv and Haifa would face a saturation strike that overwhelms the Iron Dome. We are not talking about a surgical strike anymore. We are talking about a regional conflagration that drags Turkey, Jordan, and Egypt into the abyss. The War Department is preparing for a boxing match, but Iran is bringing a knife to a wrestling match. And finally, we arrive at the most terrifying scenario of all. Scenario 3. The Homeland. This is the one nobody in that cabinet meeting mentioned. This is the one that keeps intelligence officials awake at night. Whatever the president expects regarding Iran, the question we should be asking is, what should we expect here? Iran's cyber capabilities are Tier 1. They are not a third-world country in the digital space. They have been probing United States critical infrastructure for a decade. We have detected their fingerprints on water treatment plants in Florida, on power grids in Texas, on banking systems in New York. They have been planting what experts call logic bombs, malware that sits dormant, waiting for a signal to wake up and destroy the system. If we strike their homeland, they will strike ours. Not with missiles that we can shoot down, but with code that we cannot see. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and the ATMs don't work. The credit card readers at the grocery store are offline. The gas pumps won't dispense fuel. The traffic lights in major cities are all stuck on green. This is the asymmetric cost of the War Department mentality. Hegseth and Trump are compartmentalizing the risk to the Middle East. They are treating this like a localized conflict. They are forgetting that in 2026 the battlefield is global. The front line is not just in the Persian Gulf. The front line is the server room at your local bank. The Maduro model does not work on a regional superpower. You can snatch a dictator from a crumbling palace in Venezuela. You cannot snatch a theology from a nation of 88 million people. Pete Hegseth has staked his reputation and the lives of thousands of American service members on the claim that he is prepared. If the order comes and the operation goes sideways, if a carrier is hit, if the price of gas hits $10, that quote, "whatever the president expects," will be his political epitaph. It will be the sentence that defines the collapse of the administration. The guns are drawn, the safety is off. The Secretary of War is waiting for the command to fire. We are entering the danger zone. Watch the embassy alerts in Beirut and Baghdad. Watch the GPS jamming data in the Persian Gulf. The decision has likely already been made. The only variable left is the trigger. This is Apex Brief. We are monitoring the fleet, subscribe and turn on notifications, because when the first Tomahawk launches, you will hear it here first.